Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Mantle. I'm the Member of Parliament for York Durham. Over the last several months, Conservatives have been highlighting all the taxes and policies that make life unaffordable for Canadians. But curiously, every time we do, the Liberals respond that these taxes and policies are imaginary.
Imaginary taxes.
Imaginary taxes.
Imaginary tax.
Imaginary taxes.
Imaginary taxes.
These taxes and policies are anything but imaginary. They drive up the cost of everyday essentials like groceries and fuel, and they contribute to making life unaffordable for Canadians. Let's go through and see how imaginary they really are. First, let's take the industrial carbon tax.
The farmer that has to pay the industrial carbon tax on his new equipment or on the fertilizer he buys has to pass those costs on to Canadians, and food prices go up as a result. He doesn't have the option to not pay the industrial carbon tax on farm equipment and fertilizer. So a concrete measure to help bring prices down would be to scrap the industrial carbon tax. Will they do that today?
The Honourable Governor to House Leader.
Here we go again, Mr. Speaker, with these imaginary taxes.
The industrial carbon tax is not imaginary. In fact, it's the flagship Liberal policy. It made up the bulk of Mark Carney's environmental policies, and Alberta actually just signed an MOU with the federal government that required an even higher industrial carbon tax. And in fact, their new budget mentions an industrial carbon tax 9 times and includes a commitment to raise the price of that carbon tax even higher in the future. It's just common sense that when businesses have higher costs, they charge more for their goods and services. In fact, Dalhousie professor Sylvain Charlebois, commonly known as the food professor, said it this way, quote, "While the consumer no longer sees a direct carbon tax, industries still absorb these costs and pass them along through higher prices, which effectively amounts to a hidden tax." He went on to say, quote, "At every stage of the food supply chain, transportation, milling, distribution, and retail, the carbon tax compounds, inflating prices before products even reach store shelves. Farmers pay carbon taxes on fuel, fertilizer, and equipment, costs that are compounded by the GST." More recently, here's what the food professor told the House of Commons Committee on Agriculture.
Our study, if you recall, was focused mainly on the industrial carbon tax, the part that most consumers don't see. That's been our concerns from day one, looking at the wholesale prices. And since the publication of both of our studies, because we published 2 studies, 2 papers, the gap between wholesale prices in Canada versus the US, food wholesale prices have actually increased. So, and we believe that one factor driving this is the carbon tax. And so we're very concerned, and of course we're looking at food prices into 2026 right now with Canada's Food Price Report. And again, we don't, at this point, we feel that we actually may provide Canadians with some bad news for 2026, but we are expecting food inflation to continue to be a problem.
That's not imaginary. That means that your grocery bill is higher because of the Liberals' industrial carbon tax. Let's go to the next example, the inflation tax. As Milton Friedman famously put it,
that it is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon.
That means that inflation happens when the government increases the money supply and borrows more money. More dollars chasing the same goods and services leads to a steady and sustained rise in prices. Mark Carney's first budget released in November is one of the largest spending budgets in Canadian history. It includes $90 billion in new spending and a $78 billion deficit. And that brings our total debt in Canada to over $1.35 trillion. That level of spending will push up inflation, making everything from food to power to clothing more expensive for Canadians. It will also force the Bank of Canada to keep interest rates higher. That means increasing the cost of your mortgage. You don't have to take it from me. We can take it from Mark Carney in 2010, where he said, quote, "Growing public debt will push up global interest rates, crowding out private investment and lowering potential growth." Or you can take it from Mark Carney's own book, where he says, quote, "In inflationary environments, as we are in now, fiscal discipline should complement monetary tightening." That means more government spending drives up the cost of everything, making life unaffordable for Canadians. Mark Carney's new budget removed their fiscal anchors, spent more than Trudeau ever did outside of COVID, and provides no path to balance. That's not imaginary. Take the hidden fuel standards tax, which will raise the price of gasoline by 17 cents a liter and diesel by 16 cents a liter. A tax on the trucker that delivers the food is a tax on the mom or the dad buying that food in the grocery store aisle. It's a tax on young Canadians. It's one more sacrifice that this Prime Minister is asking the next generation to make. Instead of a costly budget and a costly election, why not eliminate the fuel standards tax and bring forward an affordable budget for an affordable life?
The Honourable Minister of the Environment.
Mr. Speaker, it is so tiring to hear about these imaginary taxes.
Contrary to what the Liberals might like to believe, the so-called clean fuel regulations are indeed a real piece of Canadian law. They are mentioned twice in the budget, and the government even has a dedicated webpage for them. Now, 2.5 years ago, the Parliamentary Budget Officer, who's a non-partisan agent of Parliament, responsible for providing economic and financial analysis to members of Parliament and to senators, calculated that the clean fuel regulations would add 17 cents per litre to the cost of gasoline and add 16 cents per litre to the cost of diesel. This doesn't just make your gas more expensive. It increases the costs for the farmer to run their farm and for the trucker to deliver their goods to the store. As food inflation rises higher than even the general inflation number, this tax certainly isn't imaginary.
If you look at, say, the G7 right now, we're the only country within the G7 which has seen 4 consecutive months of a food inflation rate increase. So we're not going in the right direction right now.
When the government enacts policies that affect your cost of living, they should have the integrity and the courage to debate and defend those policies in front of all Canadians. Just saying that they're imaginary doesn't make it so. The industrial carbon tax is real, inflation is real, and the fuel standards tax is real. And each one makes life more unaffordable for you. And it's time the Liberals own that.